Welcome, dear students, again. Here we are on the episode number 2, and I would like to talk with you about fears. How to destroy fears of stage, fears of not knowing the message, fears of being judged by your audience, about everything actually. Your fears is something which can be every time accompanied with your presentation. That's why I want to destroy some ideas how this fear can win. That's why we together now will destroy your fears, and we'll cover all of the tips how to ruin that feeling that you have fear about something. So let's start with some simple tips. And I will tell you in this video some simple tips, so I would like you to make it like a go-to points, like step-by-step plan for you to not experience fears anymore. So the first and main advice for you will be to accept the fear. Try to think, not overthinking this fear. Don't try to overcome this fear, just accept it. Just try to believe, like, hold on, I have a fear. Yes, I do have a fear. That's why that fear will not disappear anywhere. That fear will be like your friend. Remember, I told you the loneliest person on earth is the person on the stage, in front of the audience, especially at the beginning of your presentation or maybe even video recording. But the good point will be you're not alone, you're with your fear. It's not a good news, but it's a good news for you that you know it, and that's why you can accept it and believe, like, not trying to making these attempts to overcome it will make it better for you to feel more confident with that fear. So accept that fact that when you face the audience, when you go somewhere, definitely you'll experience that fear. So that was a tip number 1. Acceptance. Accept your fear. Tip number 2 is really simple. As I told you, I'll share a simple advice with you, just few simple advices. So second advice will be put the fear on the paper. It's super easy. You need to just make it, tell in words, write down in words, what do you experience? What are you fear about? What is your fear about? I mean, what is the point which you are fear about? Like, you are fear about, but be specific here. Your fear is about your situation when people will judge you. You're not so confident in front of the audience. You're not the person who we would like to listen to. Or why do you experience that fear? Maybe you feel like you have unnecessary weight, or you have unnecessary experience or filler words. Write down on the paper that exactly that fears, the list of fears that you experience, and believe me, soon you'll get the idea of, like, checkpoints. Okay, I don't have this fear anymore, and this one is also crossed from this list. That's why just put them on the paper and accept them. 2 main points here. Third advice for you is a really very basic and profound advice, because it is regarding to your physical activities. When you experience fear, what is your emotional fear? It means that your body wants to get rid of these circumstances. That's why your body wants to run away. That's why you can experience these shakings or your blushing, everything which your body is trying to tell you, like, okay, hold on, let's run away from here. I don't like this situation. That's why I don't like your fear. I don't like your experience here. I don't like your emotion. That's why the only thing that you want to and you need to do here will be to make a little trick with your body. It means to try to take some exercises, try to do them. I don't mean you need to go to a gym before your presentation, but if you are before entering the stage, try to make some squats or maybe a little warm-ups, something which will tell your body like, okay, let's run away, but let's do it this way, this kind of way. That's why your body will be really will think that, okay, that it works and now we're running away. But actually you will not run away, because there is nowhere where you can run away to. That's why the third advice will be to make some exercises or physical activities to get additional energy before your presentation. So don't be afraid of that situation. You can overcome it, and this is the one of the best ways how to destroy the fear. That's why I should say that was really the best advice which worked for me, and it always works, really. Next advice will be to transform your inner self-talk. We all know this. We all do this. We need to admit that fact that we all have this just endless self-talk. What if this? What if that? What if I do this, this, and this? You can't handle all of that thoughts, and it's not just the voices in your head. That's your self-talk. What I recommend you to do, you need to transform it somewhere like somebody's has this intention to make encouragement for you. Think positive. Build positive phrases and constructions. Give positive and constructive advices for yourself. Like, imagine you are the person who is in front of the camera and you receive really necessary advice just right here. That's why I think you should transform it from the negative point of view to the positive one. That's why this self-talk can be focused on something really helpful and useful for you and your audience during your further presentation, because you are mostly you are 5 minutes away from your presentation. That's why you experience this endless self-talk. That's why what you can do, you can shorten it and transform it from the inner, I would say, even to the out. Do it like your presentation. Start pronouncing that thoughts and make them positive, make them very encouraging to your audience, and they will really appreciate it. Next thing to do, that's the fifth advice, the fifth tips, and it really works good in a good way. Imagine, I would not say like pronounce, no, imagine the worst scenario that you can have. What can happen? What can happen? Imagine that, like in the worst case, people will ask you to leave the stage. Can it be truth? Hardly I can imagine it, but let's imagine this. When you imagine the worst ways of these activities on the stage, you can think like, okay, this is really not so realistic as it can be. This option is not so serious as it can be. It's not so scary to handle with this situation, like this worst situation. That's why this moment can be the moment when you create your backup plan. Backup plan is like a plan B, which gives you some ideas how you will handle this situation. That's my favorite. That's what I'm doing every day, every time when I present something. I have not only plan B, I have plan B, C, D, E, and F, and X, Y, Z. I have plenty of scenarios how I can and where I can lead my presentation to. Remember, I told you about the 4 types of public speaking and public speakers: moderator, lecturer, entertainer, like a host of some awards, and motivational speaker. So many of them, they use, if you're professional, if you're super professional specialist as a host or presenter, you definitely will have just 25 backup plans for different situations. Imagine these squares. Where are you? If you are in the first square, it means that you are a moderator. It means that your events will be just conferences, maybe even funerals, or something very either ups or downs. But this events, they are mostly very, very well organized. That's why the only thing that is required from you to announce something, that's why you don't need to have thousands of backup plans, but you do need to have backup plans from the same format. Don't take a plan B from the motivational speaker if you're a moderator. No. If you understand what is the type of your presentation, what is the type of your audience, and you want to have different ideas how to handle situations, think about plan B, backup plans according to this situation and this type of presentation. That will work for you in the best way. If you are an entertainer, if you are like with a less informative message but a high emotional delivery, think about your plan B. Your plan B can be a joke. Your plan B can be something which you can just switch topics, ask questions. So everything that is regarding to your second square while being in some industry of show business or media entertainment, so everything like this, you have your own plan B, C, D, E, F. If you are a lecturer, that's not a problem. Your main point will be, you can be at the school, at university, at press conference, somewhere where is required really to provide a strong message. That's why your plan B will be to create a new topic, to create a new message, and move forward with the content, the messaging, not to rely on the delivery from the first time. And if you're a motivational speaker, voila, you have just 1,000 of required elements to provide. So strong message, strong delivery, very bright output, great influence on your audience. That's why you need a really plan X, Y, Z. That's why we will work on that in our further episodes, but still here you can understand the goal of your presentation, the place where it will take place, and your audience. And every time before a presentation, imagine the worst scenario in the life. I mean in the life of your presentation. What can be done more to destroy your fears? What you should think about? Think about your audience actually. If you know who will be your audience and how you will handle all the situations regarding your audience, you'll definitely know everything which can be done there. Before telling you who can be your viewers and what should be done to analyze your audience, I would rather recommend you to think about the experience. Experience is the tip number, 6, how to overcome fear. If you rely on your experience, you actually, where to start, you can have two types of experience. The unique experience, like extraordinary, exclusive experience, which is really mostly is accompanied by fear, and the common experience, like universal experience. You use it every day. While being for example, a driver for somebody, it's not a stressful situation for you to drive a car because you have a universal experience in that. If your experience is exclusive, unique, it means that you are a student driver, and this is your first or second or third time behind the wheel, or you are passing the exam. That's why your fear will be definitely with you just right here. What should be done there? I would say that you need to make plenty of rehearsals. Rehearsals will turn this unique experience into the universal common experience, ordinary experience. That's why what I recommend you to do to be focused on this transformation from this exclusive, for your presentation to be not an exclusive experience, extraordinary, but to be a really ordinary, everyday, routine experience, which will destroy your fear for 100%. And the last advice of this episode will be to know your audience. It's not only the tip how to ruin and how to destroy your fear. It's the huge part of your work which should be done in advance before entering the stage. So, while being an award winner, or Oscar winner or everybody, motivational speaker, everybody who you just see everywhere while doing public speeches. Think about the audience. I would divide the audience, and not only me, everybody actually divide the audience into three parts. Three part of audience you'll definitely see everywhere. Whenever you will have a presentation, whenever you enter the stage, you'll definitely meet three types of your audience. We can divide it into 10, 80, 10%, of course. 10% of your audience will be your kind of friends. So it doesn't mean that this audience is really these people are really your friends, but it means that this kind of audience, this type of people, let's imagine your audience will be 100 people. So 10 of them will be your friends. So they like your output, they like your message, they like your appearance, they like all about you. So all of you is really adored by the people. So whatever you do, whatever you say, they will adore it because they are your friends. Let's jump into 10 other people. They are your haters. The same, but vice versa, opposite side. Whatever you say, whatever you do, however you look like, they will not just hate it, but really they don't like it. They won't accept you anyway, nowhere in any situation. That's why you don't need to be focused both on that friends and on these haters. Don't think about them because friends will be definitely with you, whatever you say. Haters will be definitely after you, they will be against you, whatever you say. That's why we don't think about them. What is really important to know about your audience, you think about this 80% of your audience who are nowhere because they don't care actually. Before your presentation, before you enter the stage, they don't care about you. So if you then you take some actions. For example, you can admit that you have a fear now, like that you experience some anxiety, and think, how will these 80% of the audience, how will they treat it? Do they treat it like wow, no, don't be anxious, just go ahead, do this powerful presentation? That means that you did a great job to transform this 80% into and to make them join that 10% of your friends. Or some actions that you've done, they would definitely lead into the opposite thought. Like they would think, oh my God, stop this, who are you, or what are you talking about? And this group of people, they will join that 10% of your haters. What should be done? Everything that you will do on the stage, from your first step into the building, when you just exit the car and enter the building, you will work for that 80% to transform them into your friends. That's why before taking some steps or telling some ideas, think about that 80%. How will they treat you? How will they treat it? How will they treat you? What attitude you will activate at that same moment? And while being nervous, you'll really make worse just for yourself, because people, they always reflect what you send to them. If you share very excited emotions that you are super excited, they will feel the same. If you share you don't want to do this, but it's happening, you're sharing like, oh, I'm so nervous, I'm full of fears, I don't know what to say, I'm not confident, they will feel the same. Let's ask the question, do you, being a viewer, do you want to feel something like an anxiety or fear? No, you don't. That's why you'd better choose the speaker who is confident than who's trying to overcome fears. That's why pretend to be a confident speaker until you become a confident speaker. Really, that works. Of course, in accompanies with all of the tips that I've told you before about how to destroy your fear. But actually do that tip. Think every time when you enter the stage, think about that 80% who are nowhere. They haven't decided yet what do they want, to join your haters or to join your friends. That's why I highly recommend you to work with them and to meet their expectations, to even to do best, to do more for them, to feel the best feelings about your presentation. And as for the audiences, one more tip, the last but not the least. What about your haters? Be ready anytime, anywhere. If you're a professional speaker, be ready to meet some, like saboteurs who want to make sabotage. But before thinking about them, think about yourself. Actually, what is sabotage? Sabotage is some actions which are taken to destroy your presentation, your powerful output and influence. Sometimes it is done, for sure it is done not accidentally. So people have an intention to destroy your presentation, and they enjoy this process. That's why you should be ready for them. But it's not really not a hard situation to handle. What is harder and more difficult is your inner sabotage. So sabotage can be like inner, internal, or external. External, what I mentioned before, is considered to be a person or a group of people who try to ruin your presentation. It's okay. But what about the internal sabotage, like inner sabotage? It means that your fear turns out to be your main enemy. That's why we put additional attention into this topic, how to overcome fear. And even if you are the person who really did a great job of being a motivational speaker or just public speaker, don't think that it will last forever. Any day when you face the new audience, when you face the new format, or experience and feel yourself as the host of new show, you'll definitely get again this friend of yours, the fear. That's why you need to have these plans and tips how to overcome and destroy these fears anytime, anywhere, being a very professional person. As for me, sometimes I experience fears, but I know for sure how to destroy them into 2 steps. That's why my inner sabotage, it won't take place everywhere, anywhere, I would say. But what about the external sabotage? How to overcome this? How to deal with the people who want to destroy your presentation? They can ask you a question. I would say that, remember my advice, imagine the worst scenario about your presentation. What can happen? These saboteurs, this is what can happen. So let's imagine they ask you some tricky questions, or you don't feel confidence about sharing this or that. What to do? First of all, if you receive this question, like a provocative question, you need to know that this person, he lacks your attention. That's why if you just give him your attention, like, oh, thank you for the question, you need to be very, very super happy about this question, not to feel more anxious about that. No, express that you're super happy about that. You don't express and experience these fears, and you appreciate that question. Anytime, don't forget about this tip. And as for your audience, you need to know, like, all of that 80% of people, when they see you on stage and that saboteur even closer to them, they make their decision. That's why every next word will make them either your friends or the friends of that saboteur. That's why think about that audience. Try to connect, try to unite that audience with you, but not with that saboteur. Try to build this connection and bridge between you and audience. Try to make and use sentences like, we together, we all know. Imagine and notice some common experience. That's why you need to know your audience the best way you can. That's why what you can ask yourself before taking a presentation: who will be your viewer? who will they be? Like men or women? If you choose men or women, it means that this audience is wide. What about the narrow audience? Remember Clubhouse? We all did enter the room. We all did. Many of us really hosted the rooms, but that audience was really narrow audience. Narrow audience is really easier to talk with because you are united by some and connected by some common ideas, common experience, common problems. That's why working on narrow audience is really easier than working on wide audience. That's why the trick is you need to turn and transform your wide audience into the narrow one. That's why all of that celebrities, that's why all of that people, they who we see, public figures, they use different activities to connect themselves with their audience and to gain new audience and make it wide but still be narrow. That will be our go-to point for this topic, and I appreciate your attention, and I hope that you never feel this fear, this destroying fear again using all of these tips. So stay tuned to learn more about public speaking.